What's up, boners? The Skull Seeker here. Today we are going to be doing a comparison between three different kinds of cat skulls. So we have the domestic cat, the mountain lion, and the African lion. So we'll start with the domestic cat to get a look at some of the basic features. So this skull is missing a few teeth. I don't remember how many, but it's not too hard to count them. But anyway, so here's our top view. As you can see, it has a very large brain case. And from the back, you can see this here is the sagittal crest, which is where the muscles attach onto the jaw. So like the size of the sagittal crest is a good indicator for bite strength. So its bite force is much stronger if it has a large sagittal crest. So this one is fairly small, but it still has a pretty great bite force. It's just like a little bit smaller of an animal, so it has a little bit less proportionate. But anyway, from the front we have the teeth. You can see it is missing one on the top and I think one on the bottom. They should have 6, and of course this camera does not like focusing as much. I wish I could use my phone, but it's full on storage. But anyway, we have 6 on top, 6 on the bottom for the incisors. Then we have the canine tooth on the top and the bottom here. And then we have premolars, and then we have molars. And then the tooth right here and right here. Man, yeah, there we go. And right here, these are the carnassials, and they're used to shear flesh. So it's basically as they're, if I can get this back in the right spot, as they're biting down, they can tear things with these teeth right here. And that's why they're kind of sharp there. You'll notice in cats and carnivores in general, their molars are very spiky as opposed to being flat like ours or herbivore molars, because even their premolars are super spiky. And then yeah, this side's missing a few teeth. But yeah, that's one of the main things to note with cats, is that all of their teeth are pretty much sharp. Because yeah, even the premolars and molars are. So we have the nasal cavity in the front here. And it's a little bit, I don't know if I can get this in focus. Probably not. A little bit deteriorated. Still has a lot of the sinus in there. But another thing you'll notice, these huge eye sockets. So this cat here, domestic cat, has very large eye sockets, which means obviously good sense of sight. So they're really, like, they're sight predators. They detect their prey using their eyes. They can also smell, of course, for some of that help there. But as you can see, very large eye sockets. Then we have the orbit here. So this is what's called the orbit, also called the eye socket. But we have here on the bone that almost makes a complete touching point here with the zygomatic arch, which is what this thing is called, the jugal and the squamosal. They form the zygomatic arch. And once again, that's that kind of shape there. Then we have the foramen magnum, which basically just means big hole. And that is where the vertebrae attach on for the neck. And the auditory bullae are these big lumps here. But now if we compare that to a mountain lion, you'll see some differences. So if we take this guy here, first thing you'll notice, this thing has a much larger sagittal crest. So we have this very large crest here that also protrudes back farther, because as you'll see with the domestic cat, it's a totally different shape of the skull. This mountain lion has a much pointier back of the skull here. So that's the thing you'll notice. Another very noticeable difference is the eye socket size. Let me see if I can reposition that. Okay. So we look at the size of the eye sockets. You can see that proportionally, the domestic cat has larger eye sockets. Of course, obviously, the mountain lion has bigger eye sockets in actual proportions, like compared to each other. Mountain lion has bigger eye sockets, but compared to body size, domestic cat has bigger eye sockets. So that is an interesting thing you'll notice there, is that the domestic cat has much, much larger eye sockets proportionate to its skull size. And then, yeah, once again, the shape from the top, you can see the domestic cat is more circular, kind of an oval shape. Then the mountain lion is more like I'd say a triangle within a little bit of added on the back. It's very like triangular shape there with the like that, and then a little bit of back there for the sagittal crest. You can see its brain case is right here, which once again, looking at it compared to the domestic cat, it has a much smaller brain case too. The domestic cat has a much larger brain proportionate to its body size. Then the other thing that I was talking about here with the eye sockets, the orbit, you can see here these, the bone protrusions. Here they do not touch. They, like on the domestic cat, they're pretty close. And then on the mountain lion, they've got quite some ways to go. The bones are nowhere near touching each other as they are in the domestic cat. And for the teeth, this one has all of its teeth, so you can see the molars here. This is the carnassial, and then we have premolars, we have the large canine teeth, and then we have the incisors, which are a little bit chipped, but yeah. Then we have the nasal cavity here with all the sinus stuff intact. We have the nasal bones right here. And then, yeah, there we have our top view from both angles. Front view, side view, bottom view. So, once again, auditory bullae and the foramen magnum right here. And then the zygomatic arch. And then, like I say, sagittal crest here. The muscles attach from here and go down to the jaw here. And that provides it with its bite. Now if we take this step farther and look at an even bigger cat, so for comparison we have, this is 3 inches for the domestic cat skull, 9 inches for the mountain lion. Here we have a 15-inch absolutely massive lion skull, which is pretty heavy. This is like one of the biggest lions pretty much ever in terms of skull size. Like, this is a massive, massive lion. Most of the skulls you'll find out there are, I don't know, 13 inches or 12 inches. This is a 15-inch adult male lion skull. Absolutely massive. It is missing one tooth in the front, one of the incisors. But yeah, very big and very heavy. This is hurting my arms. But anyway, so here's our lion skull. From the top, well, that's the funny thing. You can see these big old canine teeth protruding upwards here. And it's just kind of cool, but yeah. Top view, you can see it's even more elongated than the mountain lion skull and much, much more than the domestic cat. Its sagittal crest is massive, this huge crest right here. And it has a fairly large brain case, probably a little larger proportionately to body size than the mountain lion. Still smaller than the domestic cat though. Once again, similar to the mountain lion, we have the bones here not touching. The zygomatic arch is relatively flat. It gives it a, once again, kind of a, well, this is more like a diamond shape in the skull other than the little curve here, but you know, it's kind of diamond shaped. And so we have the nasal bones here with the nasal cavity here. Then we have the molars, premolars, and of course the big old carnassial teeth there for shearing meat. These absolutely massive canine teeth that are almost 3 inches long. Then you have to take into account that part of it is still in the skull, so you have a canine tooth that's approximately this long, so that's around 6 inches almost, which is just crazy. And then we have on this one, the auditory bullae are really weird on the lion skull. So they're these kind of, like these lumps are kind of just coming off to the side, which is really interesting. Very weirdly shaped compared to the domestic cat, where they're just these little circles that are on the underside, whereas these ones come off on the side of the skull on the lion, which is just really, really interesting. And yeah, we have the foramen magnum back here for the vertebrae to attach, like the spinal fluid and everything. Then yeah, let me show you the views here with the top view compared to the domestic cat. So I don't know if I can get this far. Yeah, we'll see if I do it this way. So here we go. You can see once again domestic cat is kind of circular, more of an oval shape, and then we have the massive diamond shaped head of the lion. Once again, you'll notice the sagittal crest super tiny on the domestic cat, humongous on this African lion, which is why they have an extremely powerful bite force, and that is due to, yeah, that very large crest. Very long too. It makes the skull so much longer, because otherwise it'd be like this little guy and be shorter. Wouldn't have a skull that long. But yeah, very powerful biting muscles. And let's see, I don't know if we haven't done any, like let me give you a view of this side. So here we have this side view of the opposite side of the skull. The orbits are closer in size to the domestic cat, proportionately anyway. Obviously much larger than both of them, because it's larger than the mountain lions too. And you know, still fairly large. Once again, they're sight hunters. However, their eyes, once again, the domestic cat has got to have one of the largest, proportionate to skull size, because that's just, those are some massive eye sockets there. But yeah, if we compare, well, and also you'll notice these ones are circular. It's pretty much a circle, especially from the front, you can see that. In the lion, we have more of a curved shape. It's more of an oval, curves like that. And then with the mountain lion, we have once again more of an oval. And there we go. So, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.